Kia ora, and welcome to Bus Days. Today I'm going to show you how to cut a sinkhole into a timber slab or bench top using a router. Now here's how I'm going to do it. I have a router with a 63mm cutting length, and its diameter is 1/2 inch. So my timber is around about 56 mils thick. So the router is capable of going all the way through the timber. Underneath the timber I have some 4x2 planks. They're there simply to support when I cut the sinkhole out so it doesn't drop away, possibly damaging the edge. Safety first, never touch these things while they're plugged in. One way of helping with that is I've got a spanner tied to the end of the power cable, so I can't really use it while it's plugged in. Now the router bit needs to go at least 20 mils into the collet. But not all the way to the bottom. When tightening the router bit into the router, there's a small button on the side here that locks the shaft from spinning, and that enables me to tighten it up. As far as position is concerned, I've put the bit just below the surface so that I can put the tool onto the workpiece and then plunge it. So like most routers, I have 3 preset plunge stops. I've got mine set about 9mm apart, so each cut I'm going to take will be around about 9mm deeper than the previous cut. You could probably go up to the cutting thickness of your router bit, but because I've got such a long bit, I don't want to overstress it. And the stop in this particular router has got a quick adjustment there, so I'm going to set that so that my first cut is around about 9 mils. So you can buy for these routers a little guide that clips into here and has a bush on it, and you use that bush to run along the edge of a jig or something you want to cut against. I don't have one of those, so I'm simply going to use the edge of the router. This one's round all the way round, and it's the same distance in to the bit, which simply measured is around about 74mm. So I've marked out where I want it to be, and I've made myself a little jig that I can use to run the router around, which will sit pretty much there. So I'm just going to get that in place and clamp it down, ready to go. Clamped it to my countertop with a gap of around 74mm all the way around. I've measured it about 17 times. I'm going to measure it another 3 times before I start cutting, just to be sure. Now routers spin in a specific direction. Looking down from the top of this router, it spins clockwise. Now when a bit is spinning clockwise, it will be cutting basically needs to cut in this direction. This edge will be visible after I've made the cut, so is my most important edge, so I'm going to cut along as if that was an external edge, which means I'll be moving the cutter in this direction. Means I will be moving the router in this direction, then across the top, back down this side and across the bottom, and that's pretty much how I'm going to cut it out. Most of the way through now. I feel I have just one more cut and I'll have a sinkhole. Scariest cut of all coming up next. And now I've got a sinkhole. Quarter-inch radius corners, only because of the half-inch bit. I've just run the orbital sander over the sides just to clean it up nice. And so now I have this chunk that I took out. She's solid. You know, I think that'll make a butcher's block. So I'm using a fine plunge adjustment to make slight adjustments to the plunge. What I want is the bit sticking out just the right amount. It's a bit of a fiddly job to get right. Takes a couple of test cuts, but we'll get there. So that's the kitchen sink cutout complete. Rounded edge and all. I've also got the rear cutout for storage done. Whole kitchen bench edged, so now it's just sanding and tidying up that live edge there. So thanks for watching. This is approximately how the sink's going to look. It's just sitting in there at the moment. Hopefully you're keen to see how it actually turns out, so keep watching my videos, subscribe, hit all the buttons, and we'll see you again soon. Take care.